Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Saida and today I'm showing you how I illustrate using my iPad or Procreate on my iPad. So this is something I haven't actually shown you on my channel before. Mostly I show you how I make sticker sheets, also using Procreate most of the time. But I thought we would try something different this week. We're illustrating for the Friday Doodle Club. This is an Instagram channel I came across a few months ago, and they post 3 prompt words every Friday. And then a lot of people participate in this Friday Doodle Club. And with these 3 words, they create a doodle or an illustration or whatever you want to call it. It's just a very fun challenge or a fun club where everyone is super supportive and super nice, and I have been partaking as well. So the prompts I'm using for this illustration are tiny hiding potato, which immediately gave me this idea of a potato playing hide and seek. I don't know why. And first I was going to illustrate a potato hiding under the stairs, maybe with a parent or another children potato, baby potato, another potato looking for the tiny hiding potato. But I very quickly realized that drawing stairs was not my strong suit. So I decided to go with another setting, which is a children's playground. And you can see that I quickly switched around my sketches and started sketching out a playground. Usually I do these challenges in a square, so I usually post these on my Instagram only, so therefore I only draw them in the square that fits nicely on Instagram. But also I very quickly decided that a square really wasn't gonna capture the feeling of a playground wall or the 3D and naturey effects I wanted to draw as well. So I made a rectangle and it's actually a very widescreen canvas that I'm using. And the first thing I always do is start out with sketches. So I just take a red pencil. I don't know why red. I've seen other illustrators do this and I thought it was nice to do red. Maybe because it's more easy to see through the red instead of a black pencil. Anyway, I take a red pencil and I very roughly sketch out what I want to draw. And this is also the time that I really mess around with scaling. So when in Procreate, when you rescale something, usually it really messes up the pixels. So you really need to do that while you're sketching, because if you do that with your final illustration, then basically it's ruined. So really make sure to use the sketching time to figure out if the scaling is right, if the setting is right, if you really like a tree going somewhere or you want the tree to be bigger, to be smaller. So after sketching out the playground and different kinds of, what are they called? Playground items? I don't know. I started to put in sketches of the potatoes playing hide and seek. And I thought it would be really fun for a dad or a mom to be on top of the slide and count from there, which is something we used to do as a kid. And then I drew these tiny potatoes running around because obviously they're going to hide, which is usually quite a chaotic process with little kids, or little potatoes in this case. And the tiny hiding potato, the one that really is inspired by the prompt, is actually hiding under the slide itself. So I imagine they were all standing at the bottom of the slide when the countdown was starting. And then all of them are running away quite far, hiding behind a bench or behind a tree perhaps. But then the one who is kind of lazy or maybe a little bit sneaky, he just went beneath the slide, which is kind of a lazy hiding spot, but I think it's also kind of fun and really something that little kids would do. And then to finish it off, I thought it would be really cool for another parent to sit at a bench with some bags with perhaps a few drinks or snacks in them, like it's a children's party, right? So you have the snack bag with one of the parents. So that's something I sketched out as well. And after sketching, I start to lay down rough colors. So these are not necessarily the final colors or necessarily the final texture I want to put in or want to use. Also, I saw another artist do this, where they really drop in an ID of the color you want to have somewhere, just to have something to go off. And that's actually something I've been doing as well, and it really works out. And for usually, I do this on separate layers, so that I can really play around with the fore and background of different items. And then I put the sketches in a little bit more opacity, so that you can see through the sketches more easily. And also something I do a lot of the times is actually play around with different colors. I like to drop in a darker color or a lighter color just to see if that makes the look better. And it's something that you can very easily play around with doing a digital illustration. And I think it's actually a very useful process to go through, especially as you're a beginner artist, like myself, for sure. It can be quite hard to decide what is a right color for something or the color you really want to use. And just playing around with it, trying different colors. At least I find that my eye recognizes which is a right color and which isn't, although I perhaps lack the technical skill to actually know which would be the right color. I find that by trying different colors, I instinctively will know which is the right one, at least for my style or the feeling I want to achieve. And after laying in those rough outline sketches and greenery, I start by really filling in the playground items. And I decided to go with a very simplistic color scheme, because I figured those playgrounds usually have very primary colors. So that's something I did. I just went with blue and yellow and some white details, because I thought that's usually what those playgrounds look like, right? They have a very set color scheme. And usually, especially a bit older playgrounds, they were usually all metallic or like coated metallic. So that's really my inspiration for this. I know there are a lot of playgrounds now that are mostly wood or more natural materials, but if I remember the playgrounds I went to as a kid, they were mostly like metallic, so that's really my inspiration for this. Also, something I actually do a lot is just zoom in and out, and to get a really good overview of how the illustration is going overall, and whether I still like the color scheme overall and the positioning of everything. Especially by zooming really far out, I think it's really handy with digital illustration that you can really get a nice overview. And here I'm just showing you a close-up of my screen recording, because apparently I didn't record this part of the drawing process. Anyway, what I decided to do is make a sort of outline of the sand in my imagination that makes the playground really stand out from the path around it. And I really cheated here, and I just drew one sort of log and then copy-pasted it all around and just played around with the scaling a little bit to make them look all different, but it's all the same log basically, just copied and rescaled. And then played around a bit with the opacity or the color scheme to really match the feeling I was going with. And afterwards I start to really work on the potatoes. So the process I go through is from a more overall feeling and large bits of color, I steadily go more detailed, as you can see. And then sometimes along the way I decide I don't want to work on potatoes now, I just want to do more bushes, but that's fine. But usually I go from more overall to continuously going more detailed and adding more details to previously drawn items or objects as well. This is also where I decided that the big potatoes would be a mom and a dad. I don't know why. I just thought it would tie it all together. And then my favorite part about this illustration is the tiny potatoes. I really tried to make them as whimsical as possible, where they would be super hysterical, running around the playground, going to hide as fast as possible. Really the way kids would, right? And something that is definitely not a strong suit yet of my illustration style is getting movement into an illustration. I think it's quite difficult and something I really have to practice a lot still. But that's something I really focused on with these tiny potatoes as well, to give them movement, to really make it seem like they were flying away to a hiding spot. And to really make the piece come alive as well. And after laying in most of the potatoes, items, objects, whatever, I like to go into shading to also decide where light is coming from and to also make the piece come more alive. And this can really differ between different artists, how you shade or whether you shade at all. And this can really determine a style. So for me, I still experiment a lot with different types of shading, different styles. Different amount of detailing as well. My natural way to draw is go very detailed, and for me I really have to tone that back because I actually really like non-detailed pieces. But this really makes a style and it's really fun to experiment with, so I would encourage you to try different things and just see what you like. Oh, and I gave the tiny potatoes party hats because, well, we're at a children's party, so they need hats, right? And like I said, I thought the mom would need some shopping bags, although they're not necessarily the moms, I need to say, from a feminist standpoint. But they need bags, right, with drinks or snacks, because they're kids. They want drinks or snacks. And for these, since they're really the last details, I immediately also shaded them while I was drawing them. Sometimes I do the shading only at the end, and sometimes I do them while I draw the object. But for these, I really went while drawing the object with the shading. And finally, I did the sky at the back. I went in with a lot of clouds, decided they were too many clouds and the depth of them was wrong, and I didn't quite know how to fix it. So I just took some of the clouds out again so that it was more to my liking, and played around with some different colored trees again, or to put some shading on trees or shrubs. And in the end decided to keep it quite simple, because the more shading or color differences I put in, the more messy the piece became, and I didn't actually like it all too much. And also I thought the ground basically could use a bit more like flowers or something, but by this time, or at this point, I was drawing for several hours and I didn't really feel like making a whole lot of detailed flowers, and I thought I could just mess around and put some messy imagination flowers. Just some things that would look like flowers to your brain without actually needing to be flowers. And in the end, I kind of didn't like it, so I played around with different colors, different opacity levels, and from pink went to more a yellow tone to make it more natural and more like weeds, and decided to go with that in the end. And here I'm just shading the playground tools to give everything a bit more life. And the way I shade is actually by using a multiply layer And most of the time I actually use a medium purple color to shade, which really gives off a nice shade, especially if you use the layer as multiply. And I do want to mention, I actually tried filming this shot from above, but it was very hard to not have a reflection in your face from the screen of the iPad. So I'll try if I can work out a way without a very large reflection. Or maybe I just need a screen protector which has a non-reflective surface. I don't know. I'll see if I do this again and how I can make it better. So let me show you the final piece. I'm actually very proud of it. I know it's not perfect, I know it's not super detailed, but I think the setting is super fun. And it's also my favorite part about an illustration, is to create a setting which tells a story and doesn't need a whole lot of explaining. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that as well. I want to say, please leave a comment down below whether you like this type of video and if you have any suggestions for other videos or maybe how I can improve these videos. Let me know. I'm very interested to hear. And please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to support me and see more. I want to thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you in another video. Bye bye!